Alright, should be back on now.
Good times. Oh, before I forget, Lauren, because you're leaving.
Oh, yeah.
Lauren received GPC bucks.
Yay!
I'm sure you have more than that now, but
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if there's anything else I forget you.
The G, no, we should.
Oh, perfect.
Because then if I,
You're going on.
you can't. Just go to the grocery store, this is $40. Trust me.
And then the hole punch is right here too. Is it 3 hole punch? So you have to push it down. Hope for the best. Yeah.
I look ready on the top. Big and proud.
Are you like on time?
I'm so confused by the Google Map. I think this is really messed up. It's only taking me 30 minutes to get to my party, but then it takes me 40 minutes. Then it allows me to start and then I have Mine is not going to take that long. I will probably take 15 minutes. I'll try not to talk a lot.
I'll pass out pens and paper too for our next activity.
You're just full of activities today, huh?
Except for the way to leave.
No, I'm just waiting so you guys can take them home. And I was going to do one for green boards, but you guys get this. And I highly recommend going home and doing it. Green boards are the best. Make sure you pick the person.
I'm like, what's starting over on
Make
my
sure you pick the person that you want to sketch. Is this what you want? What?
No, that's me.
I'm so confused. What are we doing?
She's like, what?
So awkward.
You mean like, I want to get a you get the picture of you. You have to sketch your outline.
Above your bed at night.
I'm here with you, actually. Yeah.
We're on your pillow.
Anyway, okay. How are we doing?
You can.
For more quality.
Sorry.
Like one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
mine are like more.
Yeah, what I
like
about
that.
me. So now we're gonna, I handed you guys out a piece of paper, so we're gonna write down goals. So we're mid-month pretty much. So what I want you guys to do is write on the top of the paper what the goal that you have for this month, like whether it be multi-district, for this, get this much personal QB, or, and then in the middle of the paper, write down the goal that you want by this summer. And then at the bottom of the paper, write down a goal that you want to have by the end of this year. And I want you guys to dream big, but be realistic. Like, it's mid-month, and if you're a consultant, writing on your card or your piece of paper, like, I want to be a regional vice president by April 1st of 2016. That's not realistic. And honestly, you're probably just setting your expectations too high. Like Lauren, you said, sometimes you set dates and then you get upset when you don't do them. So be realistic with your goals. Like, if you're a consultant, region district manager by the end of this month, it's totally doable. And I want you to dream big because you could, it's probably unlikely that you be a regional vice president by the end of this month if you are just a consultant, but I mean, anything can happen. But and by the summer, like, I mean, Christina, you just promoted to region, so maybe, yeah, instead of, I'm going to be an executive national vice president by July. So I'm just going to share with you guys my goals because I think it's important to share your goals and share with your family and write your goals everywhere, on your mirror and everywhere, on your wall. I'm just kidding, don't get it on your wall. Write on a piece of paper. Yeah.
Paint your goals everywhere.
But seriously, that's another thing that I did that I never did before. Most of you guys were at my house on my Christmas party, and I had my goals up in the bathroom that I use the most, that I see the most. And I did promote, and it did change my business. So I every month have a goal of 5,000 personal volume for myself, starting for new business builders. And my goal this month is to get my area bonus. By the summer, I'd like to be a regional vice president. And by the end of the year, I'd like to be a bonusing regional vice president and have promoted a regional vice president. And I think that those are all totally doable. And I know that I'm going to do them. And you need to tell yourself and believe. And it's because what you think about, you bring about. And if you don't have, and you can't have any doubt in your mind. It's not like if or I hope. Change those two words to I will. And you can do it. Because I did that too. And I'm like referring back to myself. But I'm going to share with you guys this, not to like brag or anything, but in the last 3 months, I've made more in my paychecks than I have in 2015. So just that little shift totally changed my business. The mind shift, totally. So if you guys can change that shift. And then I have markers for you all. You guys can pick one so that you can write your goals.
Yeah,
I already have them. So pick one out, and now you guys don't have an excuse to write your goals down. You can write them on your windows, on your mirror.
They don't do in your mouth and it'll like melt away. Unless you rewrite it every day.
Yeah, that's like I'm going to be.
Because of the like wrote it. I have a bathroom.
I had like when I was going region, like I had it on this mirror, I had it in my bathroom, I had it like my car, on my board.
I loved it.
Yeah, I made this. I think this is really cool to do too, is get one of these, and I said, which I wasn't too far off, but this was like way before. I wrote my own January 31st, 2016, and February 29th became a region, and I will have my own. So like even something like this too, and even though it's like it didn't happen on that date, it still did happen. So it is good to have a goal and write it down and stuff like that too. So.
And I thought that was silly too. When I was like to write all over, but I thought it helped. I think it really does help grow your belief. Okay, and then I'm going to talk about how important it is to listen to. Hi, Charlie. Hi, guys. How important it is to listen to Learn and Burn and do reading every day. So I like to recommend listening to one Learn and Burn a day when you're getting ready or cleaning the side of the party. Thanks for the table. Whether it be listening to them when you're getting ready, driving your car, we all can find that 15 minutes to 30 minutes to listen to a Learn and Burn. Because those are going to help grow your beliefs, and you're going to listen to other people's stories that you can relate to. And if you're new and you don't know where Learn and Burns are, Ground Source or like SoundCloud or
Or if you want, like some people like to put the actual CD into the car, you can subscribe, and it's $5 a month, and you will get them mailed to you every single month too, which is really nice because then you can just pop it in. Otherwise, they're on the course. And
SoundCloud and there. Yeah. So very important to listen to those, and then as well as reading self like a personal growth book. And I have some book recommendations that come off the Vanderbean website that I printed out for you guys, so that you have that.
Let me look at it. Maybe I'll go back to school to be a teacher.
Don't do it.
I'm just kidding. So reading one chapter of a day from a book is so important. And I've been saying this to everybody, like my team and mostly my team, just because I talk to them. One of Christina's biggest recommendations when she promoted to Reason was doing this. Reading one chapter a day, as well as listening to Learn and Learn. She listens to like 4 or 5 a day, but one is between the one and sorry, they're like, I printed them all.
It's like very, should I come over or not?
Can I have some? I guess share. You just pick up.
And if you lose it,
Is
it's
it
on the
share?
Vanderbean page.
Thank you. I did say that, but yeah, it's on the Vanderbean. Oh, you want me to open them? All right, so I'm just gonna end this. I know we had a lot of activities and a lot of things that hopefully you guys took away. Like I said, what you think about, you bring about. Think positive and dream big. Stay focused and stay determined and stay the course. You can do anything you put your mind and your heart to. And thank you guys for letting me know.
Thank you.
What kind of cup is your help from?
No.
All right, so now we're just gonna do a little recognition.
Oh, here's. That's before I forget to. Yeah. I'm good.
Okay, so as you guys know, we like to gift and we like to recognize people and we like to do incentives and show you guys that, you know, that we love you and you guys are enough and you guys are worth it. And so this is why we do recognition, and we like to do it at the DA. It's the first Thursday of every month, and I just want to stress the importance of these, because you might think, oh, I don't need to be there, like, but you do, because if you're having a good month, the meeting needs you, and if you're having a bad month, you need the meeting. So it just really, honestly, it just fills your cup. You're around positive people, and I understand if you can't make it to all, but really trying to make it that priority and make it to these trainings. So thank you guys so much for being here. It's such a gorgeous day. I would love to be outside too, but really like taking the time and being here and filling your cup and learning, because you guys, I talk to Carly all the time how much I want this for each and every one of you guys. Like, it's not about me. Like, it took me forever to get to the fact to be a regional vice president, because I didn't feel like I deserved it. I didn't feel like I just couldn't get to it. Maureen sat me down and said, it's not about you, Christina, it's about everyone else. And if you don't go first, they're not going to be the leader that they need to be. So, trainings and everything that we go over, like really take that all in and put it to good use because you guys deserve this. You guys are all enough and you guys really can have whatever you want in your life if you really just give it your all. And I always say just give it 90 days because it's going to take the 90 days of consistent activation for you to be like, whoa, this really does work because so really, if you, that's what I do is I give it 90 days, and that's what I did in my business, and it really did show. So back to recognition, I got a little off, but so I like to recognize. I want to get my phone because I do have other people that aren't here to recognize too, because it is being recorded. Yeah. He usually doesn't cry either, but I think it's because we're all gonna say it. I don't want to move forward on that. Okay, so quals for district manager, and you guys all know what that is. It's 1,000 QP. Is Chris Pullum from Sparta, Wisconsin, Jessica Feeney from Minnesota, and too bad she didn't make it, but congrats if you're watching the recording. Miranda Gill from West Virginia, congratulations. Kathy Brandel, direct to Ryan. So Miranda's direct to Erica, Jessica's direct to Kylie, Chris is direct to Kylie, and Kathy Brandel is direct to Ryan. Nicole Dice, who is direct to Ryan. Ashley Herman, who is direct to me. And Jana, how do you say your last name?
It's okay, it's Kresig.
Kresig?
Yeah.
Okay, so congrats, and did you give her?
No, I
gift?
haven't.
Do you want to say anything, or you're
Sure. Put on the spot.
Yeah.
I just want to say.
And now it's Pearl.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I'm really proud of you. You are literally playing follow the leader, and that's exactly what it's going to take to get to where you want to be. So just continue to do that. Continue to ask great questions. You know, we're all here for you. It's a big family.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Congrats.
And then I know you will be a new district manager this month. And I always say if you can get to district, you can get to national vice president because it's doing the exact same thing and teaching others to do what you did. So, and here's a card. So area, I just like to clear this up, like for like I was an area manager, so you'll be getting a gift from Carly, but now I'm a regional vice president, so now I get to gift all of you guys. So I'm so excited. Before I'm like, I don't like this, not only giving a card. So, but you should be receiving that if you haven't already from Carly or users text. And I think chat is the end. And then first step district manager, which is 2,500, and that is Sarah. And you get gift once she was in quals, so you gift for quals and or first step district manager. So she got a gift. And then she also won the couple incentives, which her business is rocking. She is doing amazing. I know she's so close to district manager and she's going to finish this month. But she won a few incentives, and really it does show like who, when you win the incentives, like how you are in your business at the time and stuff, and you're just exploding, your business is doing awesome. So she won $50 cash and a $15 Caribou card. So congratulations. And then you can get this stuff. But I think that is it for recognition. Do you have? Okay. All right. So the next. Is Alicia, and what is your topic?
On fear.
Fear, overcoming fear.
Overcoming fear, being afraid. I'm so nervous, so I'm trying to drop anything else. When Christina asked me to to train on. And so I went with, what am I struggling with in my own business right now? And what am I most passionate about? And the truth is, I am scared shitless. Pardon my French. But like that, it just doesn't get any more blunt than that. So I really wanted to take some time and for the newer people, kind of express my journey, because then I think you'll kind of appreciate this fear a little bit more. When I first came into Arbonne, I was not afraid. Like, you told me to jump, I was Jana, I was like, how high? And I did it. I didn't care, nothing stopped me. But then I got a no. The first time I got no, I threw my phone on the couch, kind of cried. It was pretty dramatic. It happened to the rest of us. And I moved on. But then a few months into my business, I got more no's and I quit. Now I'm like, okay, so how do I find that again? And the truth is I'm afraid. I'm afraid of failing. I'm afraid of people's opinions. And it's important that we learn how to overcome that, because we're going to hit that roadblock. You may have hit it already. You may have hit it your first day, your second day, or you might hit it, 5 years into your business when you're national vice president. There's no rule book to this business, and I hate that, because I want rules. I want to know what to expect, when to expect it, and I want it laid out in a map with verbiage. Map with verbiage. And you don't get it. And so for me, that is my fear. I just realized I'm not kind of a control freak. I'm a really big control freak. And I have no, like, I have control of my business, but I don't have control of people's responses and people's opinions. And that scares me. And that has literally stopped my business. So it's important that we take this training today and really put it to use for yourself and learn how to overcome that fear. So if you're like me, you do have a tiny voice inside your head that every time you might dream just like a little bit, or you're like, oh my gosh, Christina got her pot, I'm gonna get mine. It's like, you're not good enough. No, you can't. You're not doing the right things. You don't have the time. You don't have what it takes to be a regional vice president, a national vice president. Are you kidding me? Like, those are all things that I feel like everybody thinks at one point or another. And then the worst of all for me is, what are people gonna think if I try and then I fail? And I think that one has been by far the hardest. So I just want to ask if that sounds familiar to all of you, because I know it does for me. I'm sure you've heard the saying that failure is not an option and that you can't afford to fail. But in Arbonne, the exact opposite is true. We build our business on taking risks, on overcoming failure. So failure is an option. In fact, it's necessary if you want to grow your Arbonne business, because when you stop failing, that's when you stop taking those necessary risks to become better. The fear of failure will drive you to stop taking risks, not just taking risks ultimately leads to what failure is. So we need to reframe our minds. Failure is an event, and failing does not mean that you are a failure. It means that you're doing things in business that are going to help you. You need to be more disciplined in your disappointments, and you need to move on. Every one of you in this room can be a national vice president if that's what you choose to be. You can be at the top of the company, you have it inside of you, but you have to be willing to fail. There's no exceptions to this rule. Don't take yourself out of the running because you're afraid and you refuse to do it. I think that sometimes we don't commit to playing full up, because when we fail, we don't feel bad, or we feel bad, but we didn't really put in our best efforts, when you are in fact the only person that can stop you. You don't know exactly or where you're going or where you want to be, and then that failure kind of just puts another bump in the road for you. Remember your outline. That's what we're here for. We're here to encourage you, to guide you, to help you see what it is that you want to do in life, but you have to ask yourself, do I want it bad enough to do what it takes to get there? I remember last year at my first GTC, your kind of arrogance doesn't describe what I was. I walked in there and I'm like, I'm walking that stage next year, you're not stopping me. Well, okay, yeah, no, I was pretty cocky, I'll be honest. I didn't know how I was going to accomplish it, but I was determined that I would. I was going to fail my way there, and that's literally what I've done. I've literally failed my way, because I'm certainly not walking that stage this year. But just because I'm not there yet doesn't mean that next year I won't be. That is the best part about failure. Just because you don't necessarily meet your goal doesn't mean you failed. That's okay. That's what we need to do.
I learned from my failure that if I want to have what an MVP has, I have to pay that price. I have to do what they've done. So sitting at home is not what an MVP has done. Not talking, that doesn't get me anywhere. Those are what held me back. So I'll tell you this. If you want it, you have to pay that price. They've made the mistakes often enough and preserved long enough that the failure, or led that to that failure, which has earned them that title. We all start the same way with a ton of fears, objections, and excuses, but the one thing that keeps us promoting are the ones that handle those failures and objections, and have hung in there for 5 minutes longer than the ones that didn't. Last summer, I experienced some pretty serious setbacks in my business. I had some pretty terrible months. I was wallowing through it. I had a huge pity party. I labeled myself as a failure, spent more time comparing myself, which destroys your business. Literally destroys you. Do not compare your business. And I beat myself up. Pretty much had convinced myself that this wasn't going to work for me anymore. It was only a couple months ago that I realized I actually do have a choice. I can keep up the pity party, or I can get over myself and realize that failure is not the end of the world. You have to give yourself grace. It's over so you don't keep replaying that failure and the tape in your mind, because we have absolutely no control over what other people think or do. We only have control over ourselves and the frequency of how we talk to people and what we're doing. Failure is often the first step towards success. And one thing I love is success is the first thing you can't pay for. Like, oh my God, I see a watch. So I've seen some of you with your beautiful watches on that we've all went through incentives. I'm like, I'm just gonna go buy it. I'm gonna buy it, because that's like the way that my brain goes, because I'm so afraid of failing. I'm like, I'll buy it. I can't buy success. I actually have to fail my way to be successful, and don't get to do that. Accumulated with those actions and those mistakes are what lead us to our dreams. So focus on your goal and your why, because I promise when that's clear, the price gets really easy. The price of success is consistent forward motion through the obstacles. Ultimately, that price is much lower than the price of regret. When I first jumped into Arbonne, I did not have a fear of the world. I was slightly arrogant, incredibly naive, and I wasn't going to stop for nothing. Then I failed a couple times and became absolutely terrified. I was afraid of everything. I was afraid of picking up the phone, talking to people, of what people would think of me as being pushy sales lady, and want to intrude on anybody's life. And I certainly didn't want to let myself or my family down. But letting them down really was what I was on my way to doing. It was the biggest fail that I had done yet, up until I realized to push through that. I made a lot of mistakes. Too many to count, let's be honest. In 5 months into my business, well, my first month I went district. My second, I promoted my district. My third, I had a new business builder on who was going to go district. I was set up to succeed in my opinion, but I successfully grew my calendar backwards. I literally grew my business backwards because I was just expectant of these things. I didn't push through. I didn't expect the failure that would come with it. I literally went from 8 bookings a month on average to 0. I had 3 business builders, 2 of which, well, one, I was a district. She had a district underneath of her. All of them quit. I had a new business builder start and quit before I even launched her. And through all of that, I learned that failing is more towards success. I really thought that those were failures, but really those were things that really lead me into becoming a better individual. The important thing to do is not avoid failing. You want to embrace it. I want to urge you guys to fail at something every day. In fact, I want you to fail so much you don't look at failure as bad or personal. It's necessary, and it needs to be expected in your business. There's no way that you can get where you want without putting some form of failure into your past. I think sometimes we see success and failure as opposite ends of the spectrum, but really it's success or failure. It is success and failure, not one or the other. You have to have both. Really, the lack of attention is at one end of the spectrum, and failure is in the middle, and success is right after. If you're not succeeding fast enough, then you're actually not failing fast enough. The sooner you embrace failure, the sooner that you're going to get up off your feet. When we hesitate to try new daunting things because of fears in our initial efforts, it may not work. Sometimes through it, sometimes though, it needs to not work so you can find out what does work the next time we go around. After going from 8 to 0 bookings, I learned pretty quickly what did and didn't want to fill out my calendar. If you're not failing, you're playing it too safe. Have you failed recently? Have you heard the word no? Has anyone told you recently that you just probably don't have it or have enough to get you through it? I would encourage you to ask yourself today, how committed am I to failing? Am I committing to failing or am I committed to succeeding? Because if you fail enough and you do it long enough, I promise you're gonna succeed. We need to pass this idea on to our teams. Our teams need permission to fail. They have to hear the word no, they have to have discipline control over your nose. I went like all the time, I would like switch him all, it's like down I go. Sorry. So let's try this again. Where was I? We need to pass on to our team. We need them to give them permission to fail. They need to hear the word no. They need to understand that a no is that much closer to a yes. They need to have business builders quit. They need to have spot dates canceled. And we need to do this because it needs to prepare them for what is normal. Normal in business is not a yes every time you pick up the phone. A normal in business is certainly not every booking being held. That would be great. That is ideal. It is not normal. But because somebody quits or someone says no, that doesn't make you a failure. As their upline, I want to encourage them to experience those obstacles so they know they're not necessarily doing the wrong things. They just need to evaluate them and keep going forward. Yes, there is a chance that we need to work on personal development. Yes, there's a chance that maybe we said the wrong thing, but that doesn't mean that you're a failure. It means that we need to keep educating ourselves and keep pushing forward. And doing that is going to prepare you for more failures in the future. I want you to remind your team that it's not personal. We take things personally in Arbonne, and we're just confusing our role by doing so. Arbonne is what we do. It's not who we are. So people are not judging us. We're just too worried about their judgment towards us, that we're making things up in our mind. Because I guarantee you, after that phone call, the baby is going to cry or something's going to happen. They're never going to remember it. But I can tell you, I certainly have. Doesn't mean that they do. So we have to get over the fear and taking it so personally. When you get a no or encounter someone who makes fun of you, I encourage you to put them on your beep beep list and keep going. Love the beep beep list. I can't wait for it. So for those of you that don't really know what a beep beep list is, what this is, it's the list of all the naysayers, everyone who told you you couldn't do it, anyone who turned you down. When you get that white Mercedes, you're just going to keep your Starbucks in one hand. You're going to put your hand on the wheel and you're driving to the other. I got it. It didn't work. I got it. I have my own list. I made it. It's going to happen. And you're just going to let them know and smile and just prove to them that this really can happen. So when you're getting down on yourself, when somebody pushes you over that limit, you just add them to your beep beep list. You need to learn to filter faster, move quickly, stay committed, and reinforce your thinking. Remember that everyone fails, so give yourself grace. Learn that fact that we need to fail fast. So that way it helps you. I would also say learn to fail big. Don't do like little baby fails. Those are just small steps. We want to like fail. We want to do it big time. Because those are going to lead you to success that much faster. I want to be transparent with my team and with all of you about my journey, my past failures, so you can see that there really is a road beyond where we were at. As an upline, it's our job to give them binoculars so they have the long-term vision, set their sights high, and be able to see that the obstacles and failures, or be able to see those obstacles and failures after they've taken them off. When you switch the lens on those binoculars, from that pole in the distance, close-up bumps and hills are visible, but the only way to get to your destination is to travel through the valley and deal with those cancellations. I encourage my team that their response to failure is key. Why is it important to them? Or if their why is that important to them, they're gonna push right through it. Acknowledge the fear and move on. It's not a cement wall, it's just a mist, it's just the fog in front of us. You will get through it. I still get nervous, butterflies, even talking in front of you guys, I'm shaking a little. It happens, but we have to push through that so we can grow as an individual. And when you're not afraid, that's when when you're not feeling fear, that's when you need to be afraid. You need to realize that something is stopping you, and that needs to be your red flag that's going to go off and say, what am I doing? Why am I not getting out of that comfort zone? If you're not willing to risk the unusual, you're going to have to learn to settle for the ordinary. Correct and analyze every failure you get. Give yourself the highest probability for success for the next time. And make sure that you're being relentless so that you can create tunnel vision towards your why. There is a priceless value to failure. As long as I'm pushing myself forward, I know that I'll experience challenges. No one will remember your failures, only your successes. Michael Jordan once said, I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost 300 games, 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot, and I've missed. I failed over and over again in my life, and that's why I succeed. If you're trying to achieve, there will be roadblocks and obstacles, but they don't have to stop you. If you run into a wall, don't turn around or give up. Figure out how to climb it and go through it. If you want to I want you to learn to reprogram your thoughts. Failure doesn't have to be special power over you. You have control over it. No one's born with a fear of failure. It's learned, and it's learned so you can unlearn it. Fear is the most powerful motivating forces in your life. When you feel it and then you act differently, you create new results. Ask more, rehearse less, and just take more action. If you're not going to be perfect, so just jump in, do more, do it faster, and just get up quicker. I want you to hear me today. You guys were born for greatness. You have it inside you. So just dream. It's a gift that nobody else has. Don't cheat the world of your greatness, and don't cheat yourself because you're afraid of messing up. You may be looking at your business right now feeling like there's no end. Believe me, I've been there. I am there. But your whole team has dwindled off on you, or maybe you don't have the activity on your books. You don't feel like you have anyone to call. Those are the days that you don't want to give up. That doesn't mean that you're a failure. You just have to learn to push through. Just start from there and then do the next thing. Make a list. That's what got me through my failures. I didn't know who to call. I was so hung up on what verbiage I needed to say that I didn't call. The anxiety killed me. And then I got anxiety from not making my calls. It was like a sick twisted circle. It's like it was a cycle. But it's what happens. So just make your list. Just do it. Take your 10 minutes, do your 30 minutes. Set a timer. You love the timer because it goes up. I'm done. But I did it. And that's what matters. So again, I'm going to be honest. I failed in this business. I fail every day. I'll continue to fail forward because I know that's the key to success. One of my favorite quotes is by Christopher Reeve. It says, so many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then they summon the will and soon become inevitable. So I ask yourself, what does failure mean to you? Does it slow you down? Do I let it stop me? Do I quit? Ask yourself, what do I need to shake off? What past failures are defining me? Use them as fuel to help you move forward towards your momentum. Learn from them and move on. So my call to action is I want you guys to fail. I want you to fail often. And then I want you to learn from those failures. And I want you to get out of your mind, stop worrying about what other people think, and start realizing that what can be done, go forward, dream big, and dare to fail. And then I was looking through my notes, and I just have one more thing that just kind of I thought was related. So I love listening to Learning Birds, and I literally write down like little notes from them every time I do, and I make sure I do this every day because I need to work on my personal growth. And when I was looking back, there was one called Don't Let Doubt Take You Out. And they talk about 5 ways to manage your doubt and manage the failures, which I feel kind of go hand in hand. You need to stop listening to the toxic people around you. This has been talked about so many times. Surround yourself with positive people. It's hard. I have a friend in my life, and I love her, I work with her, but she's so negative. And thank God she got moved to the other side of the cubicle wall, because now I don't have to see her, as mean as that is, because it's able to I need to cut her out. You know, if she can't be positive, I can't have her in my life. I can't have that toxicity taking me out, because I'm doing what she does. You need to plug into the team trainings. I can't express to you guys the importance of this. Marie mentioned earlier, her and I had a call, and I was talking about my business and why it's not going the way I wanted it to. And the truth of the matter is, I stopped plugging in. It started with missing a DA. Then it started with missing a Zoom call. Then it was, I'll just listen to the recordings. But I never listened to the recordings. Before I knew it, I wasn't plugged in, and then my business literally came to a stop. So I went from literally being an area manager Falls, just like $400 short, to 0 QB for probably 3 months in a row. Those are so important to be a part of and plug into. You need to create a success journal. Walk back through your life and write down every success that you've had. Then I want you every night before you go to bed, write down a positive gratitude. Christina brought that up to me, and it helps so much. Because I'm realizing the good things that are happening. We are part of the book club. I don't know if anybody else is, but one thing we had to do was no negative thoughts for 7 days. And I had to put a rubber band on my wrist. And I would snap it because it was like, oh, I'm so negative. I can't believe it. So if you snap it, it just kind of re-triggers your mind into thinking more positive thoughts. Creating goal cards, which we did today. And then also just getting into activity. There's nothing activity can't fix. So if you're having an issue, if you're struggling with failures, just get into activity. Just push it through. Get those bookings, get on that call, go to your upline, plug in, because there's more than enough resources available for us. So we just really need to focus on that.
That makes me like emotional. Because,
Yeah.
so true. Yeah, everything you said is so true. And in my mind, Alicia's always been a rock star, and I don't feel like QB or anything like that should define you, because you are a rock star and you are amazing. And you know what? If you were close to area quality, it still wasn't your time though at that time. You had to work on yourself, and that's what I had to do too. Like, I went into area quals and I didn't finish. I went into area quals, I didn't finish. I went into area quals again, and then we finished. And then my whole team quit, and besides Lauren. And then I had that decision. And then we went into, I built a team, we went into region quals, I didn't finish. And then that's when I realized I need to work on personal growth. I need to work on myself, because if I don't work on myself, like, I'm not going to get anywhere. I'm not going to grow, because that's why we stress over and over again. Do these positive affirmations, read, plug into all the trainings, plug into every single thing that we offer you, because that's what's going to get you to where you are to a national life president. I promise you that, because once I started plugging in and not thinking those little things were silly, or those trainings, I didn't have to be at those trainings, and I didn't need that because I thought I knew everything. But once I started doing it consistently and following the system, that's when my business grew. And that's what Alicia's experiencing right now, because she was, yes, a rock star, was getting people on her team and doing her shows and all that, but she needed to work on herself, because her business was not going to grow unless she worked on herself. And now she's working on herself, and she is well on her way. I know before that baby comes that she will be able to stay home. So that was an awesome training, so thank you. I'd like to lose one the whole time.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, especially if there's moms in the room.
Yes.
Like, especially the Monday night calls, they're so hard for me, because I do work full-time still. And so I work full-time, I get home at 5:30, Gavin's still needs bed, bath, dinner, and I have to fit in that Monday night call somewhere. And I asked him to babysit him a couple times so that I could do that, and then my boyfriend lives in the building, which is kind of nice, because send him downstairs.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I hate asking him to watch my son every Monday so that I can do a call. So like, how do you guys put those in?
So I have Charlie running around like crazy.
And I was really kidding, and I was gonna say your video's usually awesome.
Mine is.
Yeah, because I feel like even if it's like background noise, you're still getting getting the information. If you have to rewatch it, like some parts that you didn't really hear, then that's what the recording's for too. So I totally understand. I get it. Even Erica has 3 kids that she's running after. Her husband's never home because he works all the time, works nights, and it's just kind of, I mean, it really is 1 hour out of the week that really that you just kind of have to, if it has the background noise, or if you have to just, you know, it's okay. Like there's so many moms, I see so many on there that are like, their kids are like crawling all over them and all that, and it's like, we just make it work, and then if you feel like you just didn't get enough out of it, then re-listen to some parts that you really need to do. But
I highly recommend it. Being that I went from plugging in to not plugging in at all, and then I had like literally the first trimester from hell. And
I you run it before you go.
Well, no, I don't.
Like,
But
Mom,
I'm
just follow with me. Like, let's color. Let's like who's right
I
there. Who
understand.
wants my attention because we've been at school all day and we haven't been together. I don't get that time with him. So our 2 hours before bed is my time.
Yeah.
So I feel guilty spending it on our bond when I should be spending it with him because I'm seeing all day.
And that's up to you too. Like if you just want to listen to the recording, then you can. But if you, it's because it's not every single day of the week either. It's just once a week. I mean, then that's up to you. That's why the recordings are there. So if you want to listen to it after you go to bed for the whole day, yeah.
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 I have a 5-year-old and a 1-year-old. They used to go to bed at 7.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
It's such a very fast.
So I actually do like to turn on the focus because and I can't always get on because I'm upstairs bathing or showering and it just doesn't work. But
And
if I can, I still play.
And that's the whole thing too. Like if you want to spend that time, that's what the recordings are for. But if you can maybe like be live like once in a while, awesome. You know, I mean, it really is. We always say it's your life around our lives, not your family around your life. So yeah, if that's what those recordings are for. But if you can have a little background noise, I have like even when I'm listening to training, I listen to like 4 alarm rings a day now when I'm home all the time. So like I'm cleaning, doing laundry. I'm not really listening like you know, having her there, sitting down. But I, even like Carly, I know, she's always like, what are you saying? That's what I do. I love it. Or writing her thank yous, or doing like stuff like that, you know, you can do, but you're not really like looking at the screen, you know.
You can go video off too, and you're muted. So
Yeah.
and another thing is like, you're obviously doing this business lab. In the future, you're going to be home with Gavin. He's going to thank you for plugging in to those trainings because those are really going to grow your business. So that's like one huge, like he's not going to go, Mom, why didn't you play puzzles with me? He's going to be thanking you, you know, for years from now when you're home with him all the time and you're taking him to, you know, so if you think, it's hard to think of the future.
Short term, it's short term
You know.
sacrifices for long term gain. And I feel like last month I was not home at all, and I felt guilty, and I had to call Maureen, and I think I talked to Carly too, when I was like, I just feel so guilty not being it with her. They're like, Christina, Carly's not going to remember this month like that. You were crazy, because what he's going to remember is all the time that you've got to spend with him, like because you sacrificed a little more of your time. So
The only advice that I can give is if you do the recordings, don't do what I did and get behind on them. Like you have to set like, do you know your time with your son at this time? You know your schedule. I don't. You have to pick a time and you have to stick to that time. Because I promise, if you get behind on one recording, then you're behind on 2, and then 3, and then you're out. And that's what happens. And it's with everybody. So I get it. I respect it. Just make sure that you don't get behind.
Another thing, I noticed because I live in the background and Ellie on the side of it, she said, why do they keep saying where everyone lives? And I'm like, listen to that.
Yeah.
When she says this.
Yeah.
Is that Christina?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
Like the kids are watching.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
didn't know.
She's like, was that your name? Yeah, that was my name. Yeah, I don't realize it, but while we're playing, she plugged in our videos and videos and all that.
Yeah, there is I have a quote on my mirror that I think up there, but it just says like, and every accomplishment it starts with the decision to try. And as I'm putting it up, he was saying everything, he's like, Mom, what is that? And so like explain, like you can do anything you want to do, you just have to try and do it. And like he points to it now and reminds me of it, like he tells me.
When Christine got her Mercedes and I told Ellie I was going to show her the picture that she picked it up. She goes, can I go with you to pick out yours?
Oh, you're like a corporate.
I don't think I would be like, my kids have to be in bed. I'm fine with sitting right there.
Yeah. And I might just be me, but I feel like I will not go back to the recording. I just feel like
I tried, but
That's why, like, that's what happened with me.
Yeah.
So sometimes it is background noise.
unless
The other
it's
night,
like something where someone's sorry to cut you off, but unless it's like someone that was like, you have to listen to this, then I'll go back home. But, you know,
I have a question. Are these learning rooms we're talking about?
No,
Or-
they're-
okay, what are these?
they're
Monday,
Monday.
I was telling you about that I was gonna get you stuff, that you're on the group.
No.
Monday night touring call.
I'm just learning. Well,
Yeah.
you probably told me about it.
It's all,
I know there's probably a lot.
It's a lot. Your Monday night, those are the calls I set every Monday night. Okay.
What time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. And
Those
people
people are on camera?
Yeah, it's through Zoom, just like we're doing right
It's
now.
kind of like
Okay.
Skype, like a bunch of people.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah, and like they'll have like a strip of pictures on the top, and then like whoever is speaking the loudest, I think it goes off on.
Yeah.
And that's who's
I'm sure it's not.
Yeah.
I know. If someone forgets to make themselves.
Sure.
Yeah, like.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are they typically an hour long?
probably like 45 to an hour.
Okay.
I say 45 minutes.
And you just talk about, like,
Like training.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody gets something different. Like this,
I haven't done that at all. So I didn't hear.
Like literally, it's like
I didn't even realize.
like you were talking about
Something like
here, Alicia, and like
So go,
everyone like,
no, go up to the A and go right, to the big A, there you go, and then click sign out. And then add account. I know, I'm good anyway.
You can go on it.
I know, it's yeah, my hair would use it,
A video on you. And if you guys haven't watched these are so good to watch too. I feel like I watch these
Oh, I
over and
love
over
these.
again. These adventures on Arbonne, they're just on YouTube, and you just type in adventures in Arbonne, and there's a bunch of them.
Which is the scissors for cutting the string for the cards?
you have to cut.
Okay.
Thank you.
I will play this real quick. And it's cool because they're like a couple minutes long too.
I was actually born in São Paulo, Brazil, which is a really big city of 18 million people. But I actually live in Edmond, Oklahoma. And a friend of mine, her name is Martha McIntyre, and if you're with Arbonne, you will know who she is. She gave me some samples of Arbonne to try. And there really came a day when my husband and I decided we really need to do something different because we were living paycheck to paycheck, and it was time for a change. So I went to Martha and said, I think I'm ready to do this. I worked Arbonne while I was working full-time as an administrative assistant for a while. Then I quit my full-time job and decided that really Arbonne was going to be the answer to our prayers. And a few years later, I became a regional vice president for Mercedes. And what has been so great about this business is that it has allowed me to work it around my family. Several years ago, my husband and I went to Africa together to work with an orphanage, and we did it a couple of times. And last year, we decided that we wanted to take our kids. It was just the most amazing experience to watch my kids love on these kids that came to this camp in Zambia. And just to understand that life in America is not the way life in most countries Elementary is. It's just really neat to be able to raise your kids in a way where they can understand that even though we are given blessings, we are supposed to use the gifts that we get to bless other people. That's a great gift that our God gives anyone who embraces this opportunity. My vision for this company is that one day our bond will be known as the #1 network marketing company that gives back. Life is about making a difference, and my encouragement for everyone on my team is to work really hard on themselves and to work really hard on their business and to make this about making a difference in the lives of other people.
She's like our upline, and she's the #1 income earner in our bond too.
I was actually born in Sao Paulo, Brazil, which is a really
What are you doing today on? Training on self-discipline.
Are good to go. What is it? The topic is self-discipline. So it actually touches on a lot of the stuff that other people train on, so I think it's kind of cool. So I think it's good we're ending on this. We'll kind of make it all come full circle. I can talk about self-discipline for days because I think it relates to literally everything in your business. And to be completely honest with you guys, we all know it doesn't matter how pretty you are or how smart you are or how good you are with people. If you have no self-discipline, it doesn't matter. If you're the most gorgeous girl or you're just like a genius, it really doesn't matter because if you can't discipline yourself, you can't grow. So that's why discipline to me is so important because really everything stems from it. So the actual definition of discipline is training someone to do something through punishment. And so I think by nature we think of discipline as a very harsh and a very negative thing, but it isn't because discipline gets you to be better and it helps you grow as a person. It sounds really harsh, kind of freaks people out, so I think sometimes we stray away from it, and that's kind of where excuses can come from sometimes because it is a little daunting. Some of us are really naturally disciplined and some of us aren't. The reason I'm training on this is not because I'm the most disciplined person here, because we all have things that we sometimes mess up on or we kind of sell ourselves out and don't try as hard as we could. The reason I'm training on discipline is because I think I'm very aware of it and so that I can share with you guys some things that I've gone through that I've grown from and become more disciplined. So I kind of like a lot of things, like I said, are in my training, a lot of people talked about already. So a lot of this is like ongoing learning. You know, you're never going to know everything. So discipline is really, to me, just continuous learning all the time so that you can fill your pot to fill everybody's cups around you, because really that's what this business is about. So when I started this training, what I did was I just made a big list of everything I could think of that is a really good tip for disciplining yourself in this business. And kind of funny thing, like Carly said, 80 to 90% of this is all in your head. And I narrowed it down to my top 10 favorite tips. 7 out of those 10 were just things that you can control in your mind. Only 3 of those are things that you can actually physically do. So I thought that was crazy because people are not just saying this. They're not just saying, it's in your head, guys, you can control it. It's true. Like, they're not just saying it to say it. It's true, and that's the coolest thing, is that you do have control over that 100% of the time. So a lot of this stuff is really just being real with yourself. And when I go through this training, I just really want you guys to be really vulnerable with yourself and really look into yourself and think of, you know, am I doing that? Do I sometimes do that? And just kind of reflect, because to be honest, we've all done these things that I'm going to talk about. We've all been in that situation where we've kind of been like, I just let myself down. I gave up, or I wasn't being as disciplined with myself as I could have. So really, it's just being real with yourself mostly. So I have a list. Like I said, I always do lists when I do the training. I know when I like take notes, I like having a list. So the top 7, let's see. I am very so the first 7 are going to be discipline of the mind, and then the last 3 are going to be discipline in action. So the very first one of discipline in your mind is be real with yourself and be real with your upline. So kind of like Erica was saying, you know, about setting goals. If you tell me right now, Kylie, I want to go region by next week, and you have nothing on the books, you're going to need to reevaluate that, and you need to be real with yourself, and you need to be real with your upline, because it's really hard for an upline to help you. If I tell Christina that I want to be nation tomorrow, she's like, are you serious? Like, I don't know how to help you. So we really just have to be realistic, but still dream so big. it is realistic for any of you guys in here to say, I want to go region in 6 months, because you could, but you just have to be real. Are you willing to do certain things? I know a lot of people like The Bachelor. I don't even have cable, so I actually don't watch it, but I know a lot of people like The Bachelor, for example. Are you willing to not watch it? Are you willing to give up a ladies' night? You know what I mean? I don't know. My friends of mine don't live in Mankato, but like you're my boyfriend example. Like I do get to see him quite a bit, but for a while I didn't see him for like 2 or 3 weeks, and that sucked because he's my best friend, and so it was really hard. But I think it's just knowing that, you know, it's okay to give certain things up like that. So just be real with your upline. What are you willing to give up? If you really want something, what are you willing to give up for that? And what are you willing to sacrifice? So dream big, but just dream with a plan. One of my favorite quotes is, if you fail to plan, your plan will fail. And it's so true, you guys. Absolutely true. Number 2 is trust your upline. And I think somebody said this before. So this, I relate this back to a story in high school. So I was a competitive dancer pretty much my whole life. And before practice every day, you guys know Christina, she made us run a mile before practice every day. And I didn't really get why, because dance is like 3 minutes, very high intensity, and running is not as high intensity as dances. So I didn't really get why we were running. And my best friend hated it. We both, like, I didn't really complain about it, but she complained so much. And she was like, I want to talk to her about, like, not running anymore. We should be dancing at the beginning of practice or whatever. And I just never said anything because I trusted my coach. I said, if she's having us run, it's for a reason. So when Christina tells me to call people on the phone and not text them, it's for a reason. Even though I don't want to do it and I don't like to do it, I'm going to listen, because I know she's not going to tell me anything that's not going to benefit me, because that doesn't make sense. No upline is going to tell you something that isn't going to benefit you, because that just isn't how it works. So one thing I like to touch on this, because I think I like to say I weaseled my way out of things sometimes. So Christina, like, she would say, like, you know, you need to book 6-day parties. And I thought, oh, I booked 4, and like 3 of them canceled. So like, that counts, right? And she's like, no, not really. That doesn't count like at all, but nice try. And I think that for me, I kind of weaseled my way out of it because I was uncomfortable with what she was asking. When in reality, when I did the things that made me uncomfortable, that's when I grew the most, and that's when my business grew. And that's when my team saw, you know, just like when I watch Christina do things that are scary, when I watch her talk on the phone, I'm like, oh, I hate doing that. And I'm like, wow, I see that too, because she's doing it as well. And if you really don't, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, what was the second one again?
Second one was trust your upline. You're welcome. So, and this is a really good point too. If you don't really understand why someone's asking you this, just ask. You know, if your upline says you have to call them on the phone, well, you know, can you explain to me the benefits of why it's better to call on the phone than texting? And they'll explain it to you. They'll say, you know, in my experience, I've learned that this is better, but texting could work too, or whatever it may be. Number 3, this is huge, and this is a lot of what Alicia trained on. 3 is don't be jealous, be intrigued. And I do want to say that a lot of these things I'm talking about are fear-based and ego-based. Fear is based on your ego. Your ego will get in your way every time, because as humans, we're always in the defense. We're always trying to protect ourselves, right? And in this business, you kind of just have to put yourself out there. So don't be jealous, be intrigued. So as women, we do get really jealous sometimes. And we sometimes dislike someone because they're better than us. And Alicia talked about this. She came out guns blazing. I was in the business for 6 months, and she had done more than I had in 6 months in like 2 weeks. And I didn't like her because she was way better than me. And I was like, this chick, like, it was almost like she was my favorite child. And I was like, what the heck? Like, I was just really bummed about it. And I seriously just, I'm like, she was pretty proud of herself, which is fine because you were killing it. But she would let you know, like, yeah, like, I was at the nail salon, and this girl's coming to a coffee date with me to join my business. And I'm like, seriously? I'm like, how do you do that? And I was just so frustrated, and I was just making up. I'm like, Alicia is way better at talking to people than me. She's way more confident, and I'm just not like that. So I couldn't do that. And I just told myself that it wouldn't happen. So because I was jealous of her, I was just convinced that I couldn't do the things that she was doing. And finally, I just asked her, and I just said, you know, how are you doing all these things? And I hated asking her that. And I was like, okay, how are you doing it? And she actually told me, you know, I'm really scared to ask people. I'm really insecure, and that's really hard for me. And my hands get sweaty, and I get shaky, and like my voice is not as, like, it gets very nervous. And I was like, you get nervous? I literally thought she didn't. And I was convinced that, you know, I'm just nervous. She just doesn't have fear. She just doesn't. And I was reading my notes, you guys. All of us do. It's just the people that push through it and say, yeah, I'm just going to do it. Because in reality, when people are asking, you're going to see them again. Ask your server, who cares? You're never going to see him again. And if you do, be like, hey, so have you thought about it? Like, who cares? It's totally fine. So in my opinion, if you're jealous of someone, the two best things to do. The first thing, compliment them. Even if you hate yourself over it. It's so hard to compliment another woman, like we were saying. It's really hard because we get jealous, and I know that that's something I've had to work on a lot, is not being jealous of other people. So compliment them. And then the second thing, ask them what they're doing. Because obviously if you're jealous of them and they're where you want to be, they're doing something that you're not. So you really just need to ask them. And honestly, when you do ask them, you're going to realize they're the same. There's no special magical thing that Alicia was blessed with. She just had a desire to do it. That's it. She just wanted it more than I did. And that was just the truth. Number 4, analyze your excuses. And this one was huge for me. First off, try your best not to make excuses, but we all do sometimes. So when you do, I just want you to really reflect on it. And this was a little random fun fact. There's some lady that I thought this was huge, and I pulled it back, and he always reminds me of this now, and I'm like, oh, I'm hard, like, whatever. There's this lady that just went region like a couple months ago. I think I told you about it. I saw her on Facebook. I don't know who she is. Just 7 kids.
Wow.
She's pregnant with her 8th.
Wow.
And she's at region. So I'm like, you know what? If she can do it, I can do this, because that's really nuts. That's freaking insane. So I was like, I can definitely do it. So guys, remember that, ladies. We can do this if she can do this. So when your upline asks you to do something, or you hear a training that doing something is really beneficial, and you immediately shut it out, why is that? Why do you say, I can't do that? You know, when Christina said, Kylie, you got to do a dream team when you first start, I was like, my friends don't go to it. Well, why did I, they would have, but I was afraid of asking. And you guys, all your excuses are fear-based. That's exactly what it is. There's really no such thing as a real excuse, but most excuses are going to be because you're afraid. Most of the time. Obviously there's certain excuses that count, like, guys, but, that doesn't happen super often. So, again, I can't specifically tell you what you're afraid of, but most of the time it's going to be your fear. And that you're afraid of rejection. Because as humans, that's just us, and just forgive yourself and know that that's okay. Yes.
Sorry again.
No, ask questions.
Just a comment, I guess, but I think something that I struggle with is, and I don't mean to make it an excuse, but I really haven't had a chance to embrace all of the products. And so it's kind of like,
Oh, see, that's totally
it's kind of like, well, when
At
I
this
want to,
moment.
praise this product, I feel like it's almost a little safe for me to say that.
Well, then I wouldn't. If
Try it.
someone's like, you love this, like, I haven't tried it yet, but my upline Alicia has, and she has said really good things. So,
Friend,
yeah, my friend. I kind of take on to this. My friend Alicia tries it, and she's told me really good things, but I couldn't say yes, but I'm excited to try it too, or something like that. And that's a good point, because really, be honest, that's overall like that.
With everything that Carly was saying, be yourself. If you're being yourself, then you're gonna trust you.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah, if you borrow someone's belief, if Alicia tells you, the products are amazing, this is my friend, like she said, my friend.
Okay.
Someone's gonna trust you rather than you're like, yeah, Ari Nine,
I'm actually 80.
Yeah. Right.
Honesty is the best policy. So,
And knowing you don't have all the products, in those situations, I'm like, my friend so-and-so loves these products. Do you want to try a sample? And then that's where, you can get product and you're already accessible to products. Sure. Instead of buying everything up front.
yeah.
And that's just another way to go around it to get products in their hands. I mean, we have over 400 products.
There's no way.
I haven't tried
Yeah,
everything.
there's literally no way. I don't feel bad if you're like, I've never tried this. There's 200 that I haven't tried. Okay, totally got it. That's a good thing to think about.
And if you really don't know, if you're at a party and you really don't know what it does, you can always just say, I don't know that, but I will get back to you shortly. And then you can just put on the wall.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Sure.
And so you'll definitely for sure.
It's just important to be yourself and be honest.
Yeah.
Try and fake it. When it comes to that kind of stuff, I'm always a fan of fake it. So
Me too.
Yeah. Don't lie about a product. If you haven't used it, please don't tell someone that you have, because then it's only gonna hurt their belief in you, and then it's
one thing Christine said to me now about product, she said this to me at my last party, was I was so afraid that I was basically reading the script at the party.
Yeah.
She's like, but then people can relate to you.
Yeah.
And they can say, oh, I can do this too. So you're able to do what you do without all the product, I can do it too.
Yeah.
I can do it too without spending
And that's
$800 to
so
watch.
true.
So that's how I think of it. But over time, I've built up way too much.
I
I know, I gotta read my.
No, that's a really good question. Sorry. No, oh my God, questions are encouraged. Not anything fancy. What?
Yeah.
Okay, anyways, okay, I think that's all okay. So analyze your excuses, kind of the last thing that you really do owe it to yourself. So really, I'm not hurting Christina when I say I don't want to do something. I'm hurting me. And I'm hurting my business, and I'm hurting my future family, and my family right now, and that's just like, it's really only hurting you. And we say all the time, thinking about, if it, like we say, like, oh, don't think about it if it doesn't work, think about it if it does. So practice what you preach, you guys, and just like be positive and think about when things do go right, instead of being like, oh, like I'm scared, it's not gonna go right, I'm just not gonna do it, because it could go really great. Number 5, motivation does not equal action. So this is kind of interesting to me, and this is something I kind of learned that when I did leave my corporate job, I'm not kidding you guys, I probably watched like 5 hours a day of like motivational stuff. And I was like, gosh, my business isn't really like doing anything, I wonder why. And I was like so confused. I'm like, I'm the most motivated person. Like I want it so bad, but like why I'm leaving parties and like I'm starting my business, and I was like actually genuinely confused about it. And the thing is, you guys, it doesn't matter how motivated you are. Motivation is very important, but it's not going to do anything. Motivation isn't an income-producing activity. Calling someone and booking something or asking someone to join your business, that's income-producing. But motivation is just a little piece of it. It's a very important piece, but don't convince yourself that you're working, because it's really easy to sit on your couch and watch motivational videos and listen to Les Brown or Debbie Neal or whatever it is that like really gets you fired up, but that isn't going to push your business forward. That's the reason it's so easy to do is because it's not scary, because you're not talking to anybody, you're just listening to something. Still do it. But, I mean, yeah, like still do it sometimes, but just be very aware of that, like, because that was a huge thing for me. Like, so number 6, understand that failure equals growth. And this is literally what Alicia talked about the whole time. Get uncomfortable, honestly. And I told this story, I have to tell you guys. I really, really enjoy telling you guys this, not because I'm bragging, but because I want you to understand that when someone is doing really well, not because they're lucky. So I talked to you about this before, Christina. So when you're watching someone who's sponsoring a lot of people, or they're booking stuff, or they're winning all these challenges, and you're like, gosh, she's just really good at this. She's probably not naturally good at it. So what happened to me, we did the 10 apps a day challenge like a couple months ago with Marina, Nomi, and Erica were in it for sure. And it probably looked like I wasn't really doing it because I wasn't posting any wins, because I didn't have any wins. So I wasn't posting anything, and I was seeing all these people saying, I sponsored so-and-so, and so-and-so just joined my team, and I have a copy date next week. And I was like, literally, I asked 40 people, and nothing happened. Nothing happened for me. So basically, in my mind, I had failed 40 times. And it felt so bad. Obviously, I felt like crap about it. I was like, I'm a loser. I asked 40 people, and 40 people literally don't want to hang out with me and join my business. Like, that sucks. Like, and you kind of like think about yourself, and you're like, gosh, this is bad for yourself. And I kind of was sad about it. And then Marie messaged me, and she's like, we're going to do another one. I know that you didn't get the results you wanted, so you should do it again. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if my heart can take it. I was like, that sucks. And I was like, fine, I'll just try this one more time, even though I was like, I don't believe in it. It's like, for me, it works better to ask people at parties or like whatever. Like, it doesn't work for me to call them or message them or meet them for coffee. I was like making up every excuse. And I just decided to do it. And then like 2 weeks, I think I sponsored 4 direct meets. So it wasn't because I was lucky. I did that challenge before and totally blew it. So like, if you're watching someone who's killing it, just know that it's not because they're lucky. They're just failing a lot more than you are. That's just it. I was so willing to fail more than the average person. So I was succeeding more than the average person that month because I was willing to suck that bad just for a moment. Like, I was willing to have that many failures. because it was really kind of scary. But so number 7, practice positive thoughts. And I say practice because it does take practice. A lot of Arbonne is us training ourselves to be more positive and be more optimistic and just training yourself to be the best you that you can possibly be. And 2 things that you cannot do if you're trying to be positive, which I've struggled with a lot because I feel like the generation I'm in sometimes is not the most nice to other girls, I guess, or it's like, what is she wearing? And like, oh my God, like, yeah, like look at her boyfriend or whatever, just like stupid things like that. So 2 things that you really cannot do if you're trying to have a positive mindset is no complaining and no gossiping. And that is a huge thing that Dan and Harry talked about in Arizona. You cannot gossip because even if you like the law of attraction says, what you think about, you bring about. So if you're talking shit about somebody, like people are just gonna think poorly of you. And whether you believe in the law of attraction or not, who wants to hang out with you when all you do is talk bad about people? And this is so something we all need to work on because I catch myself all the time. And the best way to catch yourself is how do you start a sentence? I don't mean to like make fun of her, but that's gossip. I don't mean to sound like a bitch, but that is gossip. So don't do that. Just catch yourself and forgive yourself when you do it and say, okay, crap, I just did it. And my roommate and I catch each other all the time and I say, hey, you're gossiping. You're supposed to be like, Kylie, watch that, watch what you're saying. And maybe like get a friend and get a buddy and say, hey, can you keep me accountable so that I don't complain and I don't gossip? And if you're going to complain, give yourself like 2 minutes on a timer. Everybody loves timers. Just get a timer and just vent about it and get it out of your system and then be like, make 5 things you're so grateful for you could just cry. Like you guys, you can walk. You can all see me right now. You should thank God every day to the point where you want to cry because not everybody has this. Not everybody can hear what I'm saying. Not everybody can look at themselves in the mirror and know what they look like. Like that is huge. Like there's these little things you can be so thankful for every single day. So the last 3 things are discipline and action. Like I said, a lot of this stuff's in your mind. The 3 discipline and action things. So first is begin the month with a measurable and a realistic goal. So I went to business school and they would tell us a lot, when you have an organization, you need to make realistic, measurable goals. And to me, I was like, well, I'm a dreamer, and like, I'm just gonna be like, I just want to be rich someday. And like, well, what is rich and what is someday? When is someday and how much is rich? You need to define that for yourself because Christina's booming business may be different than mine. She might want to get 100,000 in the next couple months, and I might come to 40. That's totally different. So the best kind of goal is defining a time, like when you want to do this by. When do you want to do this? And what? And it has to be measurable. So you can't say, I'm going to have a rockin' business by October 31st. Me saying, I'm going to be Regions by October 31st. That's a goal because I'm saying what I want to do and when I want to do it by. And I'll know if I did or not. I'll know, okay, I hit it or no, I didn't. But if you say I want to have a rockin' business, you're like, well, it's okay. Like, you don't really know for sure. So just have any goal. It can be, like I know Kyle and I were talking, sometimes numbers can be daunting. So if you don't like the idea of saying, I want to hit 5,000 QV this month, if that kind of freaks you out, say, I want to have this many signings every month, or I want to make it a point to talk to this many people a month, or whatever. Like whatever it is that you can measure that doesn't like totally freak you out, but gets you excited. That you're like, I could do that, and if I did do that, big things would happen for me. So just take the discipline at the first of every month and write it down. And I'm just going to tell you what my team's gifts are in their chalkboard, so you can write down your goals. I have a little whiteboard. First of every month, I make time to just sit there and write it all out. How many parties I want to have, how much volume I want, how much team volume I want to get from a team, and what I want for them, like how many people I want to help qualify, whatever. You just have to write it down. And honestly, this is definitely like a mind thing in a way, because if your brain, like if your eyes are not seeing that every day, you don't even know what you're trying to do this month. If you don't have a goal every month, your brain is like, I'm doing Arbonne, but like, what am I doing with Arbonne really? So if you say, I want to have 5 sonnets this month, and you have 2, well, your brain doesn't really know what's going on and it doesn't know what it wants to do. But if you see it and you see 5, if you see you want 5 and you have 2, your brain says, okay, we need 3 more. You should probably call someone tonight. And okay, yeah, I thought I was going to say something like later. So number 2, finish the scary task first. So my boyfriend always tells me, because he like loves to work out, and I like don't really like working out that much. And he always tells me to work out first thing in the morning. He says, you know, you need to wake up at like 5 or 6 and go to the gym and just get it over with because you don't really like it that much. You need to do that first. I hate making calls to you guys. I don't feel like I'm very good at it. I feel uncomfortable. I feel awkward. I don't like to do it. But when I have a list of 5 things to do with Jarvan, like talk to so-and-so or like make a poster or like follow up with these people or like put an order in, whatever, I will call people first because that's the thing I like to do least. If the thing you like to do least is, I don't even know. Most people I would say is calling, to be real. So if you don't like calling people, just do it first and then get it over with and you're just going to do better. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, I did it and it's done and now I can enjoy the other things that I actually usually do enjoy. Like everybody likes putting an order in because you see that QB go up and you're like, awesome, I feel great. Nobody really likes making calls. So get that over with so you can enjoy all that other stuff that you usually have fun with doing. I think I already said all that. But yeah, just doing the things you're afraid of first because obviously they're daunting and things that you don't want to do are scary. But that's why it feels so good to just get it over with and just get it done with. And honestly, like Alicia said, it's not that big of a deal. It's like, as far as calling, if I'm talking about calling specifically, so when I call someone and like we were talking about funny things we said, one time I called a girl and phone's ringing, and she goes, hello, and I said, I'm good, how are you? What? Like, I felt like the dumbest person in the world, and I was like, oh my god, like, I felt so stupid, but you guys, I don't think about it often, but like, I think about it every now and then. Do you think she ever thinks about that? I mean, I hope not, but probably not. Do you think she cares at all? Like, Kylie felt this call me, and she like totally said something weird. Like, she doesn't care. Like, it totally doesn't matter. So if you call someone and you're like, I feel so dumb, just know everybody says dumb things on the phone, and you won't die. You'll be totally okay. It's just skincare. It's not rock fight. So, number 3, work until. You're probably like, until what? Because that's what I thought too. So Erin Zimshoe says this a lot. She says, work until. And like I said, I thought, well, work until what? What do you mean? So I might be interpreting this wrong, but the way I look at it is work until you hit the goal that you originally set. So for me, at the beginning of the month, I said I wanted to skip 8 spa nights. And I had 3 on the calendar, and I just booked one the other night, and I felt awesome, but it just canceled. So now I have to book 5 more. And even though it's like kind of like middle of the month, I'm not just gonna like oh shoot, I only got 3. Like I'm still gonna call people because you guys, people will book stuff 2 days before. And somebody did that with me once and then she joined my business. So you do need to do that stuff. It doesn't matter if it's the middle of the month, it doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter if it's the last day. You never know until you ask. And some girls are already getting together for a night anyways. So if they're usually like, perfect, we were gonna have a girls' night out, great, I'll do your makeup before you go out, I'll like play with myself because I don't know how to do it, or like whatever. So it does, and like a really good example too, I think, is, you know, like when we do bookings like this, for example, you know, like I know, I think last summer we did one, and we were in the Mercedes dealership, and like I didn't book any, but one girl booked like 4. And I didn't sit there and go, oh, she got 4 and I didn't get any. It could be a bad month. Like I went home and I called more people, and maybe I booked a couple more. The next day I kept calling until I got 8, because that's what I wanted to do on the first of the month. The goals don't change, you guys. Things might fall through and things might happen, but just because it's the middle of the month doesn't mean you all of a sudden say, oh, I guess I failed, because you have forever left to do it, you know? So work until you do it. Okay, so that's all the, like, my list that I have. And I'm just going to read from this because I know I wrote it like really well thought out, but I never read off my notes. So that's my list, and I'm sure we can all think of even more, but it really does come down to this, you guys. Imagine the best ace on your team, the person who always has their calendar booked, who's always bringing new people into their business, who's always optimistic and uplifting, and that person that everyone wants to be around and everyone's business that they want to have. Be that person. Bring it out of yourself. There's no reason that you can't. There's nothing different about any of us. Those other people have just failed more. National vice presidents aren't better than you guys, and you'll know that when you meet them. They're not better than you, and you know they're not. They're not better than you. They've just heard no a lot more times than any of us have. And that's just something we have to be totally honest with. And another thing I think about, I don't have children, but I do know that when I do have kids, and Zach reminds me of this a lot, he says, because his favorite name's Emma, so he's like, oh, Emma, I don't really like that name, but Thomas said that.
I guess.
Yeah, then we can't. Well, I like that name. Okay, I know that's your daughter's name, but I'm just like, international.
I know, I
don't
do.
like it that much.
I don't like Kylie either.
Anyway, back to my training. So, I don't have kids yet, but Zach reminds me all the time. He says, Kylie, what do you want your kids to see when you bring them into the world? What kind of mom do you want to be? You know, you want them to come in the world and be like, damn, our mom's a badass. Like, and that's what I want. I want them to be like, she works her ass off for us. Like, I want my kids to know that. And I don't want them to come into the world being like, yeah, mom has that. This is everything. Sorry to swear so much, but that's just like, but I just want my kids to know that like I'm working my hardest, and I know for those of you who do have kids, like you want those kids to see that, like they notice all those little things, and it's like they're still watching you guys, and when you guys tell me that, I know that I need to do that for my kids, like ahead of time, like have it ready like you guys do right now. So be that person that's so good that you just can't even get over it, that you're like, oh, they're so good. Be that person. There's no reason that you can't. Just bring it out of yourself because it's in there. And one of my favorite quotes, you guys, is what would you do if you weren't afraid? Claire McKay says that a lot. She says, what would you do if you weren't afraid? And you might think, oh, I would ask everyone to join a business. I would have like 5 spa nights a month. I'd quit my job. Like, I'm not saying quit your job, but I'm saying do the things that like you're scared of now. But if you weren't scared, you'd do them. Because that right there tells me that if you're thinking about doing it, but you won't because you're afraid, that means you should do it. Because that means it's something that is so pivotal to your business that if you're not doing it because you're afraid, that's extra why you need to do it. And if I am afraid, which I am of a lot of these scary things, and I don't do them because I'm afraid, that is what failure is to me. If I am not doing something solely because I'm afraid, that is what a failure looks like to me. Is someone who doesn't try because they're so afraid. But if I'm facing those things, and even if I'm not being amazing at them, like when I had 4 yes and everybody said no, that's not failure because I kept going. So to me, I felt like a success after that. Because I said, you know what, I still tried. And even though it was horrible and I felt bad about myself, I said, you know, I feel like a success because even though it didn't go the way I wanted, I still did something and I still tried the hardest that I could have. So, sorry, I'm just reading this. I talked about all this already. I think I memorized it somehow. I'm just kidding. So, not. So, focus your thoughts on all things positive and know that if you can discipline yourself, you can reach the most amazing achievements if you just discipline your mind. This is a mind game, not an emotion game. And I want you guys to remember this. If you remember anything I say, remember this. That emotions are not how you do your business. They're why. They're not how. So when someone says no, you can't cry about it. When someone returns a product, you can't cry about it. When someone cancels your spa night, you can't cry about it. But you know what? You can have that be your motivation and what keeps you going is your emotions with your family or just doing things for you, you know, like your love for yourself or your love for your family or your love for freedom. You know, do that for you. And don't be so afraid of that. So you just need to get out of your own way and just know that emotions are not going to run your business. You are running your business. And that's all I got to say about that.
These trainings are all amazing. You guys get like more amazing each time. Seriously, wow. Thank you so much. That was awesome. I have to go to the bathroom too. I'm not late.
I'm heading out.
Oh my God.
Hi, thank you for coming. It's so good to see you too. And I'll see you Wednesday.
Yes, it's on. Look at my calendar. It's on there.
Bye, Sarah.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye.
Yeah, I got that time. Alright, I'm going to run.
What are you doing right now?
Yeah, oh
Hey Rachel, it's Sally, your Arvon girl. Hey, I was just calling you to tell you I'm super excited about tomorrow night. Just wanted to follow up with you. And I'm excited to come to your house for this little spa party. So give me a call if you have any questions. See you tomorrow, girl.
Hey guys, well, my name is Valerie and I'm National Vice President with Arvon.
And I've been doing Arbonne 5 years total. It's flown by. So I'm doing emails, listening to Learn and Burn, and doing text messaging to my team all at the same time. 1 second. That's my mom. She calls me a lot. She's an area manager though. Hold on. She may need me. This happens a lot too. Which phone do I want to answer? I try not to spend too much time in here, to be completely honest. Like normally what I do when I wake up in the morning after I kind of make my coffee and a little breakfast and stuff while Gregory was still sleeping, usually I come in here and I do a little personal development forward emails. I would say probably about an hour is what I try to limit myself to. I always have a stack of buckets to wash from spa parties, and I always wait till the last minute to hate washing them. If you get a cute pair of gloves, it makes it a lot more fun to wash the bucket. Oh, that's how you did that. I want to paint something on here. Usually we have a once-a-month meeting, but last night we had a little bit more of an intimate thing in my home for the month of December, and we did a little phone blitz, and then 30 minutes, we got around 20 parties booked, maybe a little more, I think 22 or something like that. So it was really awesome.
I think we became really good friends before I even considered doing Arbonne. So she's just awesome.
When you talk to her, you know that she's talking to you from experience, and she just believes in us and supports us all the way. I love this stuff. You're only supposed to use one square, but I usually use 5.
My life and my family time is my center, and then I could intertwine my business throughout that. So I can do Arbonne in the nooks and crannies of my day.
Seeing her eye on Arbonne story and how she did it and how quickly and where she's at now. So she was like a supermodel to us when she drove up.
Oh yeah! Let's keep going. Toto. Oh yeah, it's pretty small. I mean, we have, a grocery store, a couple other little things. Right there, I got my dental hygienist to start the Arbonne business, which was really cool. Next, I need to hit up the chiropractor, and but really it all comes down to what I wanted to get out of this business and making that bigger than my excuses and making that bigger than my fear. I'm so excited you're going to get started. Banks are the best place to recruit people. Yeah, what is it? And what? For you like that. For me. It's for you. Getting to make the decisions that I want to make every day for my family, for my future, and getting to see other people grow. How you grow personally in this business is huge, but I mean, hands down, it's my whys. It's being able to be a single mom, a stay-at-home mom, to not have to worry about grocery bills or heating the house or anything like that, and then over and beyond, getting to help others, and just how much God has blessed me with this Arbonne business to be able to bless other people on top of that is just huge. This business is awesome, and every time I wake up in the morning, I thank God for this huge blessing that He's put in my life. Now, some people just dabble in it for a hobby, and that's totally fine. And some people, like me, I didn't have time for a hobby. You can replace an income and then some. I decided that someday I wanted to be an MVP in Arbonne, and I just never gave up. And I firmly believe that anybody who puts their whole self into this business and never gives up, every single person can be an MVP if they want to. Make your goal, and then just make action. Activity to match it. That's all you have to do. It's not rocket science. That's all you have to do. See you later. Bye. Yeah.
I love her. I actually say that on the phone because she says that it's kind of your Arbonne girl. That's literally what I say. She's like one of the first videos she's going to show me. I love it. She's awesome. All right, are you guys all good till 4? So I do want to get a picture of all of us. Oh yeah. Yeah. I can do it in front of the babies too. Ooh. Yeah. Oh my god, perfect. I think I love how I take a picture of her. Kyla, and I think we'll have to go. No, I can say. Okay. No, Kyla has to go. Okay. Oh, change the picture. What do you think right now?
I thought 3:30. So like 9. Yeah. So okay.
from our store.
Okay.
Like that.
No.
The Google Maps.
Yeah. Mine is really short, so I think we can,
Yeah, I want to.
I think I can do it. I honestly I wanted to do a training on just the nuts and bolts of this business and why it's so important. But before I get started, and I read this, I think it was right when you were brand new, Erica, and at our training, but I wanted to bring this back because a lot of people say that Arbonne is hard. And so Debbie Neal wrote a post, and I don't even remember when it was, but it was a few years ago, and it has stuck with me. So I really did want to go back and read this because I think it really does put everything into perspective. So hard is working for someone else. Okay. Hard is working for someone else. Hard is commuting back and forth when you can be home with your family. Hard is not having the choice to be home when your children are sick. Hard is not having the choice to be with someone in your family who is sick and needs and wants beside their bedside. Hard is realizing you only have 18 summers with your children and missing lifetime events and moments that you can never get back. Hard is waking up to an alarm clock. Hard is not having control over your life. Hard is being a bottom line in someone else's company. Hard is making someone else wealthy when you sit there and wait to see if you'll get a raise, get promoted, or move up in the world because someone else has control over your wealth in this world. Hard is living in fear. Hard is dying with regret. Hard is letting something you believe in and love go because you are afraid to go after it with all you have. I've seen hard, believe me, I have. This is easy. Sometimes we need to see hard right in the face so we can appreciate what comes our way. Sharing the opportunity of a lifetime is not hard. Sharing products that will help people be healthy is not hard. Sharing this gift that can be a lifeline and change someone's life forever is not hard. Arbonne has given me a lifestyle that others can only dream about. It has given me choices. Arbonne equals freedom, my friends. Here is the thing about freedom. It is never free. Okay. Hard is letting something, it's never free. You must pay the market price. What are you willing to do to have what you have never had? What is your freedom worth? Oh, I love Debbie Neal, which, if you know Debbie, she's pretty intense, but when she has something like that, it really sticks with you. So but you guys, like, we always say this business is simple, but it might not always be easy because we do let so much get in our head, like so easy. And we just have to really take emotion out of it because once you take emotion out of it, and sometimes take yourself out of the equation, that's when everything comes into place because that's what I had a hard time too in the beginning. I thought about me. How can I benefit? How can this benefit my life? Everything about me. But when I took myself out of it, that's when everything came together. So that's why I wanted to share that. So I do just want to quickly just go over a few things that about, just because there are a few new faces, but we should never be talking bad about Arbonne, ever. The only person that you complain to about Arbonne is your upline. You complain up, not down, and you don't want to talk bad about it. Like, even if, like, the system is not always the best, like, we just got a new system last March, and it's been slow. Like, we don't want to be complaining to other people about that, because what that is we are making this system so it's the best for everyone. It might take a year, but it's going to be worth it. Also, I want to talk about our system for success. You guys, our system for success is 6 to 8 parties every month or getting in front of 30 to 40 people every month.
that is our system for success, and that's what we should be following. Unless you are honestly, and I don't feel like any of you guys are here, like for the training for it to be a hobby. I feel like each and every one of you do want to make this your business or whatever more than just a hobby. So that's why I wanted to go over that. So, my business, because I'm just telling you guys all this because I'm not perfect. I made a lot of mistakes in business. My business, I would book 2 parties, 1 month, 8 the next, 1, and then 10, so my business is going like this. That's why I want to teach all of you to do what I didn't do, to be honest. And yes, we are not all perfect. And sometimes, we don't have the best luck, but really try and just be consistent. And that's why I was saying in the beginning, give your business 90 days. 90 days of your whole heart, like book in your calendar full. I always say book 10 because then you'll have 8. Or book 8, then you'll have 6. So overbook. So, and then follow that for 90 days. Give your business 90 days, you guys. I promise you that you will be so happy that you actually did that, because so many people give it a month and then they don't see anything, and then they are like, well, it's not working for me. That's why I say give it really your whole heart for 90 days, because you will, after 90 days, you will. Something will come out about it and you'll be like, wow, like you will be a district manager if you're not. You will, you will be growing, you will sponsor more people on your team. So really give it the 90 days. But yes, I say 6 to 8 parties, but also if you don't do parties or whatever, I try and teach and train what's the best way to leverage your time. But if you want to get into front of 30 to 40 people by doing camper baskets or one-on-ones, you can do that too. So the system for success is 6 to 8 parties every month and getting in front of 30 to 40 people and 1 business builder a month. That should be your priority. 6 to 8 parties or 30 to 40 people and one business builder every month. That should be your goal. And that's our system for success. So also, that's why I'm like to go over this, because when I first joined, I was like, okay, I'm just going to get the district manager and then I'll start talking to people about this. Don't do that. Share right away. You guys, we have a gift. We have, Arbonne has changed my life. It has changed Kylie's, it probably has changed each and one of you guys' life some way or another. It might not be that you, don't have a car yet. That's okay. But this is a gift. We shouldn't be embarrassed about it. We should be going out and literally talking to every single person that we see. Everyone. We should be going out, and no matter what, we should be sharing this gift with every single person out there. We shouldn't be ashamed of it, because this business changes life. It's changed my life. It's changed Carly's life. She is a single stay-at-home mom. That doesn't happen ever. So this is a gift. I know our old president, Reva Davenport, said that she would leave the house, and the minute that she left the house, she would not stop talking to people about Arbonne until she got home, because that's how much she knew that Arbonne was a gift. So don't wait to share the opportunity. Share the opportunity now. And that's why I'm going to challenge you guys all to ask 10 people a week.
Yeah.
And just like her, it's okay if you don't get anything out of it. That's okay, because you are planting the seed now. So it might not be yeses now, but it might be yeses 3-4 months down the road. So that's why I challenge you for 90 days, 10 asks a week about the business. And you can either ask them to get on a call with me. I love doing them. I will do 10 a day if I have to. So don't ever feel like you can't ask me. You can ask her upline, you can ask me. Carly's always there. I know she is super busy, so mainly asking me first. But if you guys do have something that relates to Carly, like she's a single stay-at-home mom, if you have someone that relates to that, yeah, go ahead and ask her. But I'm your upline, me, or sending the call. Brittany Johnston, her 15-minute CA is perfect to send to people, perfect. So that's another thing, is to send out calls. I know Kylie and Erica have awesome service that maybe you could post on a wall on how to get people with their close calls too, or get on a 3-way call too. You can
Yes, I do like her.
Yeah, so that's another one. So sharing the gift right away. So my challenge to you, 6 to 8 parties or getting in front of 30 to 40 people for 90 days and doing your 10 business apps a week for 90 days. And I will guarantee your business will be in a completely different spot than what it is now. You might love where you're at right now, but again, it's all about, we don't want to be selfish and keep this for ourselves. We want to share it with everyone. And I'm doing that myself. I'm doing a 90-day challenge, and I'm making sure that I have consistently 6 to 8 personal parties, and I'm asking 10 people a week about the business. Because what's the worst that they can say, you guys? No. Really? It's not like okay if you ask and they say no. It's not like you have like a gun to your head and you're going to like die or anything like that. Like you might feel like you're dying, but that's what happens. And then that just means not right now. So you guys, share it. Share the gift. Make sure you're following the system. Do the do. And I promise your business will look completely different 90 days from now. So that's what I challenge you. I know you have to leave, but I wanted to, we'll take a picture first and then we will, but I need to pull it out.
I'm sure there's other people who will be a little late.
Wait, Kylie, do we know if Carly is going to do a DA while she's there?
I'm sure. I would bet, yeah.
I'm gonna message her because I would really love for her to do the yoga one. Like I specifically know one girl who will go yoga with me, and she's like a yogi, but like she.
And she's already got days that she's gonna do GAs that could like be one of the places or whatever works.
Was it always in the business? That'd be fun. Oh,
So this is a door. I don't even want to open it right now.
I know, it's like, oh, it's so cute.
Dude, take a picture of it and post it on Facebook and say, look what Kylie gave me for just doing
You
your
guys,
training.
that's just it. Carly says that all the time, like, post your gifts, like, seriously, do it. People will ask. Like, why did you get that? Like, oh, my friend Kylie, or like,
Yeah. You stopping it again?